In this video, we're going to talk about how your life can change in gigantic ways without you using techniques like manifestation, reality creation, law of attraction, visualization, or the other techniques that I'm sure you've been taught and have been playing with. So stick with me and stay tuned. I'm Robert Scheinfeld, New York Times best-selling author and creator of the Ultimate Freedom Experience. And today we're going to be talking about how your life can change in gigantic ways without you using techniques like visualization, manifestation, law of attraction, all of these things that I'm sure that you've studied and played with. If you look at all of these techniques that we are given that are supposed to be magic bullets, you can use these techniques to create absolutely anything that you want in your life. That's the battle cry. That's the party line. If you look at what really happens when people use those techniques and you look with clear vision and you're brutally honest about what you see, which very few people are, what you see is none of those techniques work the way that we are told that they do. None of them are magical like that. And they don't work that way for anyone. They have very, very high failure rates if you look. If you continue to look closely, you also begin to see that the stories that we're told about why those techniques work, how they work, why they are supposedly so magical are not true either. We're told all these stories about how our thoughts have power and our intentions have power, and we send off these vibrations and all of these things that create what happens to us, and that it's all coming from us, and that we have the ability to shape this and choose this and carve this and bend reality to our will. Now, my life has always been something of me being what I call an objective scientist. I just wanted to find a way to make my life work because for most of my adult life, I was a mess and I was not able to get the kind of things that I wanted. And so I tried these techniques and I saw that they didn't work reliably for me. And I saw that they weren't working reliably for anybody else if I looked with honesty. And so I began to say to myself, okay, there must be something else going on here. Because I embraced the kinds of things that I'm sure you have, and I thought, all right, well, my thoughts are creating this. But then looking at things like an objective scientist, which I invite you to do, I began to see that there were things that were happening in my life that I would have called bad, and I'd never thought about them. And there were things that were happening in my life that I would have called good, but I'd never thought about them. And then there were things that I was really worried about. I had really negative thoughts about things, and they didn't happen. But according to what we're taught, they should have. And I had thoughts that were very positive about expecting positive things to happen, and they didn't happen. And so I kept seeing this over and over and over in my life and in the lives of other people, and I finally began to say to myself, wait a minute, this isn't working the way that I was taught, and there's got to be something else going on. There's got to be something else that's really creating what's happening with me, or at least something else that can modify what's happening in my thoughts, what's happening when I am trying to manifest or attract or create something. There's got to be some other force at work, because otherwise what I'm seeing in my life and what I'm seeing everywhere in everybody else's life can't possibly be true. I'll give you a great example. J.K. Rowling is the author of the Harry Potter books, and arguably the most successful series of books of all time, hugely successful movies. She became one of the richest women in the world and has touched the lives of millions of people all over the world. In her thoughts, she wanted to be a writer, and she wanted to make enough money to be able to take care of herself and her daughter and continue to write. She had no dreams about being rich. She had no thoughts about what ended up happening with the Harry Potter series. Never, ever entered her mind. And yet this happened. And if you look, you see that these kinds of things, not just with big stories like that, but these things happen all the time. Things happen that you'd call good, things happen that you call bad, and there's no relationship at all to what was happening in your thoughts or with your intentions or what you were trying to do with techniques. And so again, I came to the conclusion something else has got to be going on here. And if I'm going to fix my broken life, and if I'm going to start getting the things that I really want in my life, I got to let go of all this stuff that I've been taught. I got to let go of all of these things that I believed were true. I got to let go of what I call the party line out there about how reality really gets created. And I got to find the truth of what's really causing what's happening to me every day. And I went in search of that. I started to ask another question. Let's forget all this stuff that I've read and I've studied and I've been told and that everybody's talking about. And let's go in search of the truth with a capital T. And I kept going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper to try to discover what's really creating what happens to me every day. Because I thought to myself, man, if I want to change my life, I got to get the answer to that question. And then when I answer the question, what's really creating what's happening to me every day, then I got to figure a way to change the way I live my life and change the way I go about getting the things that I want and achieving goals and whatever else it might be to align with this truth with a capital T once I find out what it is. And I did find out what it is. And I did see that you can go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper underneath all the stuff you've studied about thoughts and attraction and vibrations and subconscious mind and whatever it is that you've studied, deeper and deeper and deeper until you get to where reality really gets created. You find out what's really going on and you see how changes can be made there that ripple up and ripple out to change everything in your life, but it requires going in a completely different direction. It requires jettisoning all the stuff that you've been taught and that you believed were true and making a massive commitment to discover and experience the truth of what's really going on. And that requires taking a journey that unfolds over time. It isn't designed to happen fast, instantaneously. It's a journey that unfolds over time. And you can take this journey down to the deepest level, as I call it, into the truth with a capital T, the big truth of what really creates reality, what really shapes what happens to you every day. And when you get there, when you see this, when you experience this, and when changes are made at the deepest level, again, they ripple up and ripple out to change everything. And it requires shifting your gears, opening your mind to new possibilities, and a commitment to discovering and experiencing the truth of what really creates your reality. And if you'd like to know more about that journey, and how you can take it, and how you can start that journey, and how you can discover the truth of what's really creating what happens to you every day, click on the link that you'll see around this video and get the guide that I created specially for you to help you begin that very specific journey.